Is the 1941 calendar the same as 2025? What if time wasn't as linear as we think? What if the calendar from over 80 years ago could align perfectly with one from today? In this video, we'll uncover whether 1941 and 2025, two very different years in world history, actually share the same calendar structure. Could the same days of the week and dates match up after all these decades? Let's find out. Understanding calendar repeats. To understand this, we need to look at how calendars work. Most countries today use the Gregorian calendar, introduced in 1582, to fix inaccuracies in the older Julian calendar. The Gregorian calendar operates on a 7-day week and a 365-day year, with a leap year every 4 years, except when the year is divisible by 100, unless it's also divisible by 400. Confusing? A little. But that rule keeps our calendar aligned with Earth's orbit. Because of this system, calendar patterns eventually repeat, not every year, but often after 6, 11, or 28 years, depending on leap years. That's why some calendars can be reused. 2025, Common Year, starts on Wednesday. 1941, Common Year, starts on Wednesday. So far, both years start on the same weekday and have the same number of days. Sounds like a match, right? Well, not quite. Head-to-head comparison, 1941 versus 2025. Both years begin on Wednesday, January 1st. That's a rare alignment. But here's the catch. Calendar alignment is more than just the first day. January match. Same weekdays. February match. Same weekdays, both non-leap years, March and April. Slight differences begin to emerge. While the first few months are closely aligned, by mid-year, the calendar starts to slip out of sync. Why? Because of the way previous leap years impact day placement over time. The leap year effect. Leap years aren't just about February 29th. They shift the calendar's internal clock. A leap year adds a day to the week pattern, which alters future calendar years. 1940 was a leap year, and 1941 followed it. Same for 2024 and 2025, but the leap year cycles leading up to and following these years are different. This affects long-term alignment and prevents 2025 from being a true repeat of 1941. Real calendar repeat years. So, if not 2025, when does 1941 repeat? 1941, calendar repeated in 1969, partially in 1980 and 2003, 2025. Calendar will repeat in 2031. So, while they seem similar at a glance, 2025 and 1941 are not full calendar twins. They share a starting weekday and structure, but they do not match month for month throughout the year. Why this matters? You might be wondering, why does this even matter? Well, repeated calendars can be useful for reusing vintage calendar designs, planning future events based on past dates, historical research, numerology, and astrology, fun, curiosity, and pattern hunting. In fact, many people reuse calendars from decades ago for nostalgia or artistic reasons. And yes, some use them for spiritual or symbolic reasons too. 1941 and 2025 represent very different worlds. One saw the height of World War II, the other, a digital era racing into the future. Yet, time connects them in subtle, fascinating ways. Calendars don't always repeat, but when they do, history gets a new echo. So no, 2025 isn't an exact copy of 1941, but it's close enough to remind us, time is a loop, a cycle, a story always returning to where it began. What year should we compare next? Comment your favorite year below, and if you enjoyed this time-traveling journey, hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into time, history, and hidden patterns. Two distant years, 1941 and 2025, separated by more than 8 decades. But do they share more than just numbers? Do calendars, eclipses, and even conflict repeat? Is 2025 just a shadow of 1941? Let's explore the surprising alignments and the haunting differences. Calendars follow patterns. Every few years, the same combination of days and dates returns, thanks to the mechanics of the Gregorian calendar. 1941. Common Year, 365 days. 2025. Common year, 365 days. Both start on Wednesday, January 1st. So far, things look identical. But when you examine the entire year, from January through December, they slowly drift apart. The dates don't match. While January and February align, March onward begins to shift. The placement of leap years, like 1940 and 2024, causes this difference. The calendar of 1941 repeats next in 1969, not 2025, and 2025 will repeat in 2031. So, 2025 and 1941 are close, but not twins. The rhythm is off. The echo is imperfect. Solar eclipses, different shadows. But what about the skies? If time repeats, surely the eclipses do too. 1941. Solar eclipse. No major total eclipse visible worldwide. Minor events only. Localized and partial 2025 solar eclipse. A dramatic partial eclipse on March 29th, visible across Europe and North Africa, and a total eclipse coming to North America in 2024, just months before. The skies in 1941 and 2025 are not the same. Different shadows, different paths of light. The heavens refuse to mirror history. War returns again. 1941 marked a terrifying expansion of World War II, Pearl Harbor, the Nazi invasion of the Soviet Union, global flames of destruction. 2025 stands at a crossroads. The headlines read differently, but conflict still looms. War may not wear the same uniform, but the fire burns again. Different flags, different names, but the same fear, the same smoke. Has humanity learned or simply rebooted? Symbols, fire, and patterns. Calendars may not repeat exactly, eclipses may shift, but some things, like conflict, resistance, and renewal, seem to echo louder than time itself. Burning again. 1941. Cities ablaze, homes destroyed. 2025. Forests burn, protests rage, nations divide. Let us now walk through the timeline of events, from the start to the end, and compare the tragedies, conflicts, and global incidents of 1941 and 2025 side by side, so we can reflect on how history may echo through time. 1941. Global civilian tragedies and disasters. 1. The Blitz, London, Swansea, Portsmouth. Intense German Luftwaffe bombing campaign, January-February 1941. London and port towns hit. Up to 28,556 civilians killed in London alone. At Swansea, 230 died in early raids. 2. Clydebank Blitz, Scotland, March 13th of 14 air raids destroyed much of Clydebank. 200 civilians killed, 1,000 injured, 8,500 homes destroyed. 3. Siege of Leningrad begins. Axis blockade started September 1941, leading to mass starvation. Estimated millions of civilian deaths over 872-day siege. More deaths than Hiroshima, Dresden, Hamburg combined. Reddit 4. Pearl Harbor attack, Deck 7, 1941. Japanese strike on U.S., killing to the 403 Americans, including civilians. 5. Widespread war-fueled fires. Incendiary bombing caused massive urban fires across Europe. Cities burned for nights, homes incinerated, massive civilian loss and urban destruction. 2025. Key civilian attacks, bombings and disasters. 1. Ukraine bombardments, Russian air raids. In July, hundreds of Russian bombs struck multiple Ukrainian cities. At least 8 civilians killed, dozens injured, residential buildings destroyed. 2. Gaza church strikes, Holy Family Church. Multiple air and artillery strikes by Israeli forces in Gaza. Attacks killed at least 2 to 3 civilians in the only Catholic church compound, injuring clergy and displaced civilians. 3. Southern Syria massacre, Swaida, July. Sectarian violence escalated, hundreds killed. At least 516 civilians killed in days of violence, including execution-style killings. 4. Yemen bombings by U.S. forces Operation Rough Rider from March-May. Bombs killed at least 224 civilians in Yemen, nearly matching cumulative civilian death toll of previous 2 decades. 5. South Sudan Fangak Hospital bombing. On May 3rd, targeted MSF hospital by helicopters and drone. 7 civilians killed, including infant, dozens injured, deliberate attack on medical facility. 6. Maiduguri suicide bombing, Nigeria, June 20th at a crowded food joint. Between 12-24 civilians killed, dozens injured in explosive attack. 7. Pahalgam terror attack, Kashmir, April 22nd, armed conflict targeting tourists in Baisaran Valley. 26 civilians killed, 20+ injured in one incident. 8. Dapayan school bombing, Myanmar, May 12th, military airstrike on an active school. Up to 22 killed, 20 students, 2 teachers, dozens injured. 9. Damascus church bombing, suicide attack, June. Attack during Mass at Greek Orthodox Church. At least 22 worshippers killed, many injured. Perhaps the question isn't whether 1941 is the same as 2025, but whether we're repeating the same choices under new calendars, new skies, and new smoke. So no, the calendar doesn't match. The stars shine differently, and yet the fire of history burns beneath both years. Time moves forward, but history whispers backward. If you're seeing signs of the past in the world today, you're not alone. What do you think? Is 2025 our echo of 1941? Tell us in the comments, share your thoughts, like and subscribe for more time-traveling truths and forgotten patterns. 1941 versus 2025, are we repeating time?